Hey, happy Easter and welcome back to my little playthrough of Wilderness. We are approaching our second landscape over here, and right now it seems that this red player is kind of in a lead, at least if we have a look on his player board here. So all his 3 tracks of thirst, hunger and exhaustion are looking pretty good at this point in time. Of course the others are also not entirely bad. Maybe the white player is in a kind of a tricky situation here. He really lost a lot of energy, so he will start his next turn with only 5 energy, and this was because of the bear attack. And also the red player played some nasty cards on him. So I think in this video we might see some more actions against the red player. Let's start with the white player, and I guess the most important thing he has to do is he has to escape from this bear. He has only 5 energy left, so he could move 3 area or movement points to the forest and then 2 to this grass, and then he would be out of reach of this bear. And I think this is what he will do in this turn. This will be basically everything that he will do. So that's 3 and 5, and this already concludes his turn. Lucky as the red player is, again he has exactly the right cards in his situation, and this is the raft. And the raft enables you to move on water areas for 2 energy per movement. As if they were grassland, the raft is placed in front of you on the table just before you enter water area, and it's discarded when you get back on land. And guess what? That's the perfect situation for him. Like I mentioned, normally you're not allowed to cross lakes here or water spaces. In this case that's not a problem, though these are 2 movement points, and with his remaining 4 movement points he will move to this mountain here, and because he just entered a mountain area he's allowed to draw a new event card. He's also next to a water space, so he can reduce his thirst. Okay, the black player will use 3 energy points to move into the forest area, and in that forest he will take a rest action that will also cost him 2 energy points, and the rest action will decrease his exhaustion by exactly 1 space. He has 1 energy point left, but with this I think he cannot do anything. No. And so we can move over to the nature's turn. So let's move the thirst, move the hunger, and then move the exhaustion 1-2 spaces ahead, and you already see the white player will start his next turn with only 4 energy. Red is still doing fine. 1, 1 and 1. And I just figured out that I did a stupid mistake for the black player, though this rest action basically didn't bring him anything, because of course he will lose 1 additional exhaustion because of his base loss he's suffering each turn. So 1 thirst, 1 hunger and 1, 2 exhaustion, 1 base and 1 for the thirsty. So again he's losing 1 energy point, and this was basically what the rest action was for, but in this case this really didn't bring me anything. The bear will move down to the black player, and now we see a fight, but before we do, black will play an event card which says Stick and Stones. Play during an animal attack. Before rolling the dice you get +4 on your roll, and this is definitely not a bad thing. So let's see what we can do about that. And as the animal would roll first, I think it was not very wise to do that, but yeah, let's see. Okay, that's a 6 for the bear. Now we roll for the black player. 6 + 4, perfect. He defeated the bear, which means this stone will be removed, and the black player has a nice feast, which means his hunger is completely at 0. So, and this is basically something what I've calculated. Of course it was, let's say, a risky move to stay close to the animal, to the bear, but really I hope for reducing the hunger here. This was definitely a good choice. Let's quickly roll for the wolf. Just doesn't count. Okay, the wolf would move northeast, but this is still undiscovered land, so the wolf will stay where it is. And last but not least, we will move the time track one step ahead. So we are coming to the night, so we have still some hours left of daylight, and I really hope to use it as good as possible. White is in an okay position for now, and I think I will search for food. You have to spend 4 energy points, which is basically all that he has, and then we would have to roll 2 dice and reduce hunger as many steps as the dice show. But if you roll at least one basically, you don't get any food but are lost instead, and this is definitely not a good thing. So let's see what we can do about that hunger. Okay, that's a 9, so perfect. We found enough to eat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we would still have 4 points left. So I think for now it's good. Normally it's not really that bad to have 1 hunger, but really he's losing energy very fast, so we have to stop it as much as we can. Before the red player starts his turn, white plays this event card on him, Fatigue. Play at the start of an opponent's turn before he checks his energy level. That player increases exhaustion by 1, and he also receives -1 energy this turn. Okay, so for now, let's reduce the exhaustion. And now he starts his new turn with only 5 energy, which isn't really that bad of a problem for him right now. So I think with 4 points he will move here to this space. Then we will reveal this new landscape tile. Oh, and here we have very deserty. Oh, this is tough. Okay, especially for him this is tough. So all the others can move through this desert pretty easily, but he really has kind of a problem. And he might have to deal with a snake sooner or later. So maybe luck has run out for red. But as he entered a mountain region, he's still allowed to draw an event card. I think the black player will just move into this mountain area with 4 points. Remember, he has only 5 energy this round, so unfortunately he's not able to move into this grassland here as well. But nevertheless, he's allowed to draw himself an event card. These were basically all the actions, so let's reduce or increase thirst and hunger. He would still go down 1, 2 spaces here, but this time the red player also loses 1 and 1 due to his hunger, 2 levels of exhaustion, so he also starts the next round with only 5 energy. And black is doing pretty okay, I guess, so he just also loses 2 levels, or gets to increase his exhaustion by 1. This is really the mixed up the direction. So he increase your exhaustion, you're not losing points here, of course. Let's move the animals, and I think I will not use this spinner because this is really not very good. It ends up in the every time the same direction. So I'm also allowed to roll a die, and we have the appropriate space on the track as well. The 6 would move him to northeast, so the snake will move here. Let's do the same for the wolf, and this is a 5, so the wolf will move up here closer to the red player. Okay, maybe that's definitely a good thing for the other players at least. And then the last sun rays are disappearing behind this nice little mountain, and we enter the night. And night turns work a little bit differently. For once, you're not allowed to search for food, and during night you must roll a die before each move into a new area to see if you find your way. If you roll a 4 high, everything is fine, and you may try to move again. And if you roll a 3 or lower, you get lost, and then you would also more or less roll a die to see where you end up. Normally I would say let's try to move to the mountain and get ourselves a new event card. But I think with 4 energy he's really directly able to move 2 spaces ahead. Phew, this is tough. He's not allowed to search for food or to drink. This is really a problem. And I just figured out black is close to a river here. So this means he would have been allowed to reduce his thirst before the nature's turn. Let's correct that first of all. So first of all, he would have reduced his thirst to 0, but then he would have lost 1 step due to the nature's turn. But this also means he only lost 1, or he only got 1 level of exhaustion during nature's turn. But apart from that, everything should be fine. But coming back to the white player, I think he will try to move into this region here. So let's roll the dice. So we're looking for a 4 or higher, so basically 50-50 chance. No, of course, he's not lucky. Normally you would now roll the compass spinner again, but again, in this case, we will also roll the die instead of the spinner. This is, oh, come on, northwest, so he will move back into this forest area here. He's losing the rest of his turn now because he's lost, so I think the white player will be out of the game pretty soon. And again, before the red player takes his turn, black player is playing a card against him, and this says apathy. Roll a die at the start of an opponent's turn. This turn that player loses as many energy points as the die shows. This does not affect that player's exhaustion. So let's do that for the red player. So red started his turn with 5 energy, so let's see what he can do. We reduce 6, so basically he will be stuck here in the mountain area and will also lose his complete turn. Cool. And thankful as he is, red also plays a card on the black player now, and this says pouring rain. Play at the start of an opponent's turn. That player cannot move this turn but may reduce his thirst 3 steps. Theoretically that would be a good thing, but as we already know, he just reduced his thirst already. So he just wins 1 space of thirst, but he's not allowed to move here. He can still take a sleep action now, spend the entire turn and reduce exhaustion 4 steps, and I think this is what he will do. And maybe that's what I should have done for the white player as well. So, but 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think black is now in a very good position, and he's now more or less the leader. So I think the next card we see won't be played against him, or will be played against him. Let's do nature's turn. 1, 1, 1 and 2. So the next turn will be pretty bad for the white player. I think he really has to take a sleep action the next turn, because otherwise he will die pretty soon. So let's see, 1, 1, 1 and 2, and black is doing pretty good, so he will only lose 1 level. Let's move the animals, starting with a snake again. That's a 5, cannot move in that direction, so it will stay where it is. Let's do the same for the wolf. The wolf will move back down to the swamp. And just to prove that I'm not cheating, here are the numbers that are printed on this dial or on this spinner here. And it's really much simpler to roll a die, and I'm really enjoying rolling die. Let's do one final round during night, and then I can still reveal the next card. So we'll move into the second spot of the night. And white is just taking a sleep action, so he's allowed to move his exhaustion stone 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces to the left. Red will do the same, 1, 2, 3, 4. And even though it's not really necessary, I think it's still best for him to sleep as well. So he's basically not exhausted at all. So this was really a very quick round, and still we see the thirst increases 1 more step again. So in total he's now has to reduce his increased exhaustion by 1, 2, 3 spaces. Oh, the same counts for the red player now. So 1, 2, 3. So I think he's not really doing that good anymore, because right now really the black player is in the lead. Let's move the snake. That's a 4. The snake will move closer to the red player. Okay, cool. And the wolf will also move closer to the red player. Okay, I think for him it's now really, because it really doesn't matter where he goes to, because he could go down there. He will come close to an animal. And this is really some kind of a bad situation for him. That's pretty sure. So we would move to a new weather card. And here we have the rainbow. Isn't it lovely? Each player is allowed to draw 2 cards. That's definitely a good thing. This weather card will just be discarded. And we have now 4 more rounds in full daylight with this beautiful rainbow over us. So let's see what the white player will draw. This is a primitive spear. And the moonlight. When standing in a forest area, you may spend 1 energy to place this card in front of you on the table. From now on, you get +2 on your die roll doing animal attacks. That's awesome. Really, finally some good thing for the white player. And the hunger brangs. No, I think we definitely will play this as a primitive spear. The moonlight, play during a night turn, you cannot get lost. That's definitely a good thing. Play when a bear attacks an opponent. The bear gets +3 on its die roll. Unfortunately, the bear is already gone. But maybe we might use this to not get lost during the next night. Here we have 2 cards for the red player. And 2 more cards for the black player. As the last round was really a short one, I decided to do one last round in this video. So I think the white player really has to do something against his thirst. So I think he will move his 4 energy points he has to move to this mountain region. Unfortunately, he's not allowed to draw an event card anymore because the good view or clear view card is gone. But he's now adjacent to a river, and this means his thirst goes back to 0. Red. Okay, I think he will do what I just thought of doing. So for once he will move to this rocky area with 2 movement points, and then down here with another 2 movement points. And I think he really wants to come closer to water, because all the other directions here will lead him through the desert. And with his thirst level currently and the animals around him, it's really not a very good place for him to be. Before he ends his turn though, he will play the wounded arm on the black player. And this says, place this card on the table in front of an opponent who stands in a mountain area. And guess where the black player happens to be? And that player now gets -1 during animal attacks because of his wounded arms. And reduces hunger 1 step less when reducing hunger. So each time he's searching for food or something like that, he can only reduce that hunger 1 step less. That's definitely a good thing and is kind of a backstabbing cool card, which I absolutely love about this game. And now it's the black player's turn, and he is also feeling very grateful for this nice little card. So he has decided to also play a card on the red player in return, which says Sickness. Choose a player. That player draws a sickness card. Let's do that. And here we have vomiting. If your hunger is 0, increase your hunger 5 steps. If not, increase your hunger 2 steps. That's not entirely bad, but better than nothing. The 1 and 2. So the hunger is coming closer to the 2 step over here. With 6 energy, the black player can really now move ahead of this direction. So he will move 2 energy, 4 energy, 6 energy. And now it's basically the end of this turn, but with an evil grin, the red player will play a card on the black player, which says Walking in Circles. Play when an opponent has finished his turn. Move that player black to the area where he started this turn. Isn't that hilarious? So originally he thought he was moving down here, but in the end it happened to be that the path he was taking was directly taking him back to the mountain space where he started his turn. Isn't that awesome? Okay, coming back to the nature's turn. That's 1, 1, and 1 again. The black player will only start with 3 energy, and with 3 energy he's not able to search for food anymore. Yeah. Okay, but I think hunger is not really his main problem at this point in time. So let's see, that's 1, 1, so 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. Oh, the red player also will start his next turn with only 4 energy, so he really has to do something about his hunger. That's really important. I think he really will have to search for some food during the next turn. And for black, it's not really that bad. So that's only 1 level of exhaustion he would gain. So let's move the snake. That's a 2. She will move back to her den or whatever you would call it. The wolf, that's a 4. And the wolf will come closer to the red player again. Not so lucky, this fella. And then we move the time marker accordingly. But I think I will end it here for today. So today we really saw a lot of cool stuff, some fights, some successful fights, the first sickness cards, and also some very nasty event cards. So I think this was really a very hilarious turn. Yeah, and then hope to see you soon in my next episode of my playthrough of Wilderness. Until then, bye bye.